everyone, and welcome to our fourth session of the 2019 IEEE Women in Engineering International Leadership Conference virtual track. My name is Charmaine Williams. I'm the Senior Manager of the IEEE Women in Engineering program, and today's event is an interactive one, and we want to hear from you all. So if you have a question, we do ask that you please use the chat feature on your right, and it's on the right-hand side of your screen, or the Ask a Question link, which is at the bottom of your screen. We will monitor those throughout the session and get to as many of your questions as we can at the end of the presentation. So let us introduce our speakers today. Today, we're very honored to have three of our former volunteer chairs of the IEEE Women in Engineering Committee. Today, we have Ramalata Maramuthu. Ramalata is professor of Anna University in India. She has been teaching for more than 3 decades and has published 6 technical books and more than 40 research papers. Ramalata was the chair of the Women in Engineering Committee from 2011 to 2012. We also have joining us Nita Patel. And Nita is the past chair and founder of the IEEE Women in Engineering International Leadership Conference. She is the Senior Director at L3 Warrior Systems. Nita was named the 2014 Engineer of the Year at L3 and is also the 2011 New Hampshire Engineer of the Year Award for her technical contributions to the engineering profession. Nita was also the past chair of the Women in Engineering Committee from 2013 to 2014. And finally, we also have Takako Hashimoto. Takako has her PhD in computer science, specializing in multimedia information processing. She is vice president of the Chiba University of Commerce in Japan. And Takako served as our chair of the Women in Engineering Committee from 2015 to 2016. So welcome to our volunteer chairs and speakers today. So we'll start off with the first question for our volunteers and speakers. And we're going to start with Ramalata with this question. Ramalata, how has your women's involvement in STEM progressed over the years? And what was it like before you became involved in Women in Engineering?
Okay. First of all, it is a great privilege for me to be here with all of you, with the chairs of IEEE Women in Engineering Committee and Chairman Williams, and also all our audience. To answer your question, Chairman, it has changed a lot. The ecosystem has transferred so much. I was the first girl in my community to go for engineering around 30 years ago. And they didn't encourage girls to go for a professional career. I was lucky because my father supported me, but when I wanted to go for higher studies, then he drew the line. Again, it was decided by the elders in the community and not by me, not by my father. So it was a tough time at that years, but right now I see that women and men are equally educated. And in fact, the men also prefer the women to be educated as well as having a career. I think that is a good transformation. But the thing much concerns me about the STEM education right now is that though the women pursue the career, they do not continue it after the first 5 years, many of them. So it has been like, though I did engineering 30 years ago, the whole ecosystem has gone into great transformation, but we have not really traveled much in the path of career sustainability. And this also includes the lack of passion for career we see in the women, because it has accumulated due to various reasons to create the dangerous culture of considering their own career as unnecessary. In my lifetime, I have always had a high regard for my career, though I had to fight continuously to sustain it. So I think there has been a change, but the change has been not full. Becoming a member of WIE has enhanced my aha moments in my career, since I found that I can actually give back to my society through WIE. So finding kinds of this aha moments probably will change the careers of the women also.
Thank you, Ramalata. And now we'll move on to the same question for Nita. How has women's involvement in STEM progressed as far as you're seeing, and what was it like for you before you became involved?
Yes, and I'd like to echo what Ramalata said, and I think all of us are really excited to be here to talking with everybody today. Definitely, there is a huge emphasis and focus around equal opportunity for both girls and boys to pursue STEM. I don't think people look at you strangely if you say, I want to be an engineer, where maybe when I was a young kid, it was a little bit weird to say, you want to be an engineer. What? What does that mean? Why? And now it's just part of the common language around students. And I think that's the exciting piece. It's that people are truly encouraged. Definitely are also seeing more engagement. As Ramalata said, there's still a pipeline issue, but I think the pipeline is maybe not as much as staying in it, but being promoted and getting into higher levels within your career in academia, government, or industry. There's still this barrier at some level to progress women into higher roles. And to me, that's probably one of the things I see, that where equality and equal representation hasn't quite reached, but encouraging girls in STEM, really not thinking anything of a career in STEM, all of those are good elements of progress. Now we just need to fix how do we get women into some of those senior roles and senior leadership positions.
Thank you, Nita. And Takako, what was it like before you became involved in women in engineering, and how have you seen women's involvement in STEM progress?
Okay, so thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to show my appreciation to the organizers for giving me this great opportunity. And I'm so happy to see Nida and Ramana sir. So long time no see. Well, I'm so excited. Okay, anyway. So when I became a software engineer more than 30 years ago, actually there was very few women in Japan. Especially Japan was so very traditional society. People thought that STEM was male dominated. So that was STEM is not girl's mother. So most of people thought that. And actually, we are sometimes so isolated. Of course, I was able to enjoy my work to develop new algorithm and new system, new solutions to contribute to society, as well as my life as a working mother. And fortunately, I had a really good mentor, role model, and helpful colleagues and supportive family. However, general situations at that time were not so mature to encourage female engineers. So there are different problems on our career development, as Nita and Lamas mentioned, such as work-life balance, glass ceilings, and traditional mindset that women have to raise their kids at home, and so on. So we had a hesitation in our mindset. So before I became involved in WIE, there were different problems on my career development. Through the years, women in STEM in Japan had gradually increased, and we try to encourage female engineers and communicate with each other, but sometimes we are not able to find a good way to do it. So now I'm so happy to happy that I joined WIE. So because my network become bigger, so therefore I would like to encourage the young generation to join WIE. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramalata. Ed, well, all of you, Ramalata, Nita, and Takako. So for IEEE, just to give everyone a bit of history of the IEEE Women in Engineering program, Women in Engineering was established back in 1997 as a committee of the IEEE Board of Directors to increase female participation in IEEE and also in the profession. With the mission to facilitate the recruitment and retention of women in technical disciplines globally, Women in Engineering's global network has over 20,000 members in 100 countries to advance women in technology at all points in their life and career, from the student to senior professional level, Women in Engineering provides activities to support our members and the opportunity to network at a local level through one of our more than 860 plus affinity groups worldwide. So the next question is for our what are some of the benefits that members can expect after joining IEEE Women in Engineering? And tell us a little bit about some of the local activities in your geographic area that help engage members. We'll start with Nita for this question.
Great. Thank you, Charmaine. That's a great question. There are a lot of opportunities, everything from technical focused opportunities with meeting others in a similar field, as well as presentations by leaders in the technology. This is just part of IEEE, as you have this rich technical base, and especially then being able to connect with women in that same technical base. I think that's one aspect of it. A second is networking and interconnectivity, to be able to have an opportunity to talk with people in a similar community. I mean, that's really the idea of a community, is people who have similar experiences, similar shared learnings, ability to help. And so you're combining the technical with the women aspect and STEM and bringing that together. I think that's one of the exciting parts. IEEE is rich in opportunity in not only, learning, but also giving back and developing your own skills through all these different leadership opportunities as a volunteer. In our local area, we really focus on outreach as well as the networking aspect of it. So for a lot of our members, it's about giving back and encouraging the next generation of young women and boys to consider STEM fields. So we do outreach in local schools, go and talk about careers in engineering, robotic competitions, making sure people are exposed to STEM. And then the second is networking. So we'll go on a hike on a weekend just to be able to relax with some friends and people in the community, or go have ice cream, on a Saturday afternoon. It's just an opportunity to be able to unwind a little bit with people with shared experiences and a common sense of a background.
Great, Nita, thank you. And Takako, for you, what are some of the types of local activities in your area to engage with members?
Organizer conference, okay? IEEE Japan organize conferences, forums, workshops, lunch meetings, and so on. So especially in Japan, as you know, it is a very traditional society. So as I mentioned, we are sometimes very isolated. So having role models, mentors, friends, and having strong network is very, very important for us. So we are adjusting our events to our societies. So by WI activities, we are able to be a team. And our activity, by joining our activities, so the people can establish a strong network, see their mentors and role models, and also able to help each other. So we can help each other to encourage and motivate each other. So it is very important opportunity to continue to work in my society. So having friends and having role models. So in Japan, it is very important, and we are. There be the activities that really adjusted according to our local situation. So I believe our WM members can open the door to our open the door to new world by our event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Takako. And Ramalata, for you, what are some of the local activities in your area?
Okay. First of all, I believe that Women in Engineering gives a wonderful opportunity for a great network, volunteer training, career and professional skill development. But apart from that, what I'm very much passionate about is the need-based, socially inspired projects. I'm proud to say that I was the first one to introduce a Congress in my area, the Region 10, and this Congress was so successful that it has been continued ever since. Apart from that, as I said, the need-based projects. For example, in India, we find that many tribal villages without electricity, the women in engineering affinity groups provide electricity. And there is a necessity for water in some of the villages. We have tested the water and found out what cleans created a clean water pipeline for them. And one more thing is the Women Entrepreneurship Project with eco-friendly products with the help of the Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, which has actually produced so many women entrepreneurs by just providing opportunity for them, training for them, and also the materials for them. Most of all, how I connect with the students as well as the outreach for the school children as well as the women of the villages. The students, they prepare projects on particularly physics laws and some of the laws where the government school children will be finding it difficult to learn because of the lack of trained teachers. Our children, they go and talk to them and show them some models on some of the laws. For example, Newton's law. We create a model for that. It is all inspired by the students themselves. They make it, they go and teach the children, and they make it understandable for the children. So these are some of the activities that I introduced in my area. All are need-based projects, and for this only actually Anita Borg Institute gave me the Change Agent Award, because I was able to create a change in the community, particularly for women.
Thank you, Ramalata. And that's a very diverse group of activities that our speakers mentioned. And it's important that those activities are based on the needs of the local area. So we thank you. Speaking of community engagement, what are some of the initiatives since each of your terms in Women in Engineering that's created an impact for women in STEM and the community? And Ramalata, we'll start with you.
Okay. When I took up as the Region 10 Women in Engineering Coordinator, because I have been in all levels. I started the Women in Engineering Affinity Group in my section and introduced the first Congress. And after that, I took up as the Region 10 Women in Engineering Coordinator. It was actually equivalent to non-existent in Region 10. But fortunately, I was able to understand the reasons. The women were totally uninspired. They needed some role models, recognitions, and kinship feeling. I was able to give that through my congresses, outreach activities, and also the awards which I introduced in Region 10 as the Most Inspiring Engineer of the Year award in 2009. And till now, I have seen that art and women in engineering has not looked back. One of my largest projects was the Sangamam, that is the bringing together the technical knowledge from the learned and connecting it and bridging it with the requirements, that is the need-based projects, which I explained just now. So it is based on the selective community and particularly the youth entrepreneurship, the returning mothers project, which is for women who want to take a break and then wish to come back. In fact, the women find it very difficult to come back because they feel that they have no confidence. So for that, I received the Sisters Pass It On Award, with which I was able to establish this Returning Mothers program. And one more program right now I'm engaging in is the World Bank We Power project, where we are increasing the number of women in power sector.
Very important. Thank you. And we'll go next to Takako.
Yep. Okay. So under my term as the IEEE the WIE chair, so we have started the WIE International Leadership Summit initiatives. That's a global event, but organized by local WIE affinity groups. Of course, ILC is our annual flagship event, and that can acquire a lot of attendees and excellent speakers all over the world. But the regional events are also important. So the summit is one of the regional but global event. we can adjust summit to our regional situation according to our local issues and interests. So in my term, summit was started as trial, and we have gradually improved the system and process for International Leadership Summit. And now we basically have around 10 global summits a year. So therefore, I really appreciate the right staff support and effort, and the committee members support effort. So, and summit also give us opportunities to be global leaders. So the local affinity groups members can organize summit. So by organizing global event, so we can be global leaders. It is very important opportunity. So this kind of initiatives, so it's very important for the right members all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Takako. And then to Nita, some of the initiatives that have been initiated since your term that are creating impact.
Great, thanks for the question. I think my term was a bit exciting in the sense that I had the opportunity to help reshape the business plan for women in engineering. And within that, we really focused on the three core tenets of IEEE Women in Engineering, which is to inspire, engage, and advance, inspire the next generation through outreach and STAR activities, engage our members, and make sure that we're providing opportunities, whether it's humanitarian opportunities like Ramalatha said, or networking and technical conferences opportunities like Takako, and my sense of, connecting and local give back opportunities, but then also advancing women in technology. And one of the key initiatives around trying to advance women in tech that was launched as part of my term was the Women in Engineering International Leadership Conference, really to provide opportunities to advance women by providing a platform to showcase their talent and their contributions, but also to encourage, as Takako pointed out earlier, you need mentors. And so the way to encourage people to look at what is the next level, whether the next level is moving from associate professor to full professor or dean, or to move from a manager to a vice president or CEO. How do you do that? You do that through bringing common people together in a conference. And so the leadership conference really focuses on not only highlighting women who have done that, but then providing training, and some of the workshops and some of the track presentations are what are the skills you need as an individual to make that happen. And the growth of that event is really exciting to see. I think it's really connected and impacted people around the world, which is also exciting to see. So I'm proud, and all of it was supported and built on, Ramalatha and Takako and all of us as chairs continue a vision around engaging, inspiring, and advancing women. So even though we've highlighted these different elements, we're all really trying to do the same thing. And it's really just focusing the different elements into a common theme, and each of us bring our strengths and focus areas to make that happen. So that's kind of exciting too.
Yes, very exciting and very important work. So we thank you all. So on to the next question, which is more related to our students and young professionals within IEEE, but how do you see the IEEE WIE journey for our young folks, and what types of activities would be most beneficial for them? And we'll start with Takako for this question.
Okay, so I believe through IEEE activities, students and young professionals are able to find mentors, role models, and friends. So they are able to find opportunities for their career development. Therefore, attending forums, workshops, networking, lunch meetings, and conferences, like any other activities, are very beneficial. And also, students are able to know the pleasure of science and engineering, so the value to change the world by their different programs, such as STAR, student, teacher, and research engineer, scientists that Lamaras mentioned. So joining such programs are also very important. And by joining the IEEE, so students and young professionals are able to organize such events. Actually, organizing events is also very, very important experience for them. So these experiences are very, very important, valuable, that they are able to know the joy of volunteering and supporting, helping others. So IEEE helps us to be global as well. So recently, our society is being global. Globalization is a key for our research and career development. So being global is also very important, valuable. So we are giving these opportunities to young professionals and students, and joining a lot of events, different events, and organizing events as the members are very important and valuable for them, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Takako. And then we'll move on to Ramalata for this questions about the journey for students and young professionals in WIE and what the types of activities are most beneficial.
Okay. I believe for the students, they need to be inspired first. And the most important inspiring activity is the one where the students actually realize that what they are learning as engineers can be useful in the real world. And that is where my need-based projects come in. And they love the projects, and we have developed so many gadgets, particularly in healthcare also, and patented some of them, and that gives a lot of satisfaction for the students. As far as the young professionals are concerned, I believe that for the women children, when they come out, they understand that they need some mentorship. And this mentorship was the initial reason I wanted to have this summit. I remember talking to Nita about it in 2013. You are organizing a conference for the world over, but how many people from Region 10 will be able to attend this? We have to have, or at least move this conference regionally. And she said it is impossible. So I designed and organized the first summit, Women in Engineering Summit, as a pilot in Madras section itself to show that it will be a grand success. As Takako said, right now we have some 10 or 12 Women in Engineering Summits all over the world. And I'm also the first one to introduce the Women in Engineering tracks in the conference, because when women want to do research, there should be some support for them. So we introduced the Women in Engineering tracks, and right now in all the flagship conferences of Region 10, it has been followed from 2009 onwards. And now I have slowly started introducing the special session for women. It is really creating an interest in the minds of women. So I believe that inspiration, mentorship, role model, everything along with technical collaboration. These are the important things that Women in Engineering has to provide for the students as well as young professionals. Thank you.
Yes, very critical, Ramalata, for the young professionals. And Tanita for the question.
Yeah, I think Takako and Ramalata touched on two key things. One is the opportunity to volunteer and give back and grow your skills in that process. As you volunteer for different roles, as Takako said, you're learning, meeting people. And as Ramalata said, the giving back and applying your knowledge and learning to the skills, those are all important. The third thing I'd like to introduce is this concept of innovation. And innovation sort of happens as you learn and hear and discover and see intersections across different boundaries. And joining Women in Engineering, which is a global organization with people from just graduating all the way to super senior, and technologies that are far reaching, from computing, embedded biology to electronics and power. So you're getting this huge breadth and ability to discover and see interfaces, which you don't really get to see in your day-to-day or maybe even your job. So joining an organization like IEEE, but then specifically in being a part of Women in Engineering, if you're a young student graduating, take advantage of it. Like volunteer, give back, but in that process, you'll become more innovative and more discovery focused because you'll see this broader perspective and all the interfaces that come with that broader perspective, which make you better just as an individual, but also in your job, in whatever you're pursuing, and just makes you think differently and creatively, and it's just a lot of fun too. So you get to see so many different cultures and technologies and experiences. So I would say take advantage of that. You have this opportunity becoming a student member, and this is one of the opportunities that's low risk. You know, just volunteer for a small task, whether it's like going and helping building a gadget in a community of need, or go help volunteer to do registration at a conference like Takako was saying, or just join a webinar like this and see different perspectives. Just be engaged would be one of the things I would encourage young kids, and take advantage of this innovation concept with all this diversity.
Yep. Thank you, Nita. And on to our final question for our speakers. Overall, how has IEEE Women in Engineering played a role in your life and career? And what would you recommend STEM professionals to join to get involved in women in engineering? Any personal stories that you'd like to share? And we'll start with Takako.
Okay, thank you. So through IEEE activities, especially by being the IEEE International Chair, I was able to have experiences, opportunities as a leader. So generally, especially for Asian females, it is not easy to given opportunities to take lead roles. So, and actually, so in our mindset, especially in Japan, so we have a kind of mindset to hesitate to be a leader. So, and actually, I used to feel fear to be a leader. So, but through IEEE chair experiences, I was able to face my fears and hesitations. It was so great experience for me. And now I am the vice president of my university. In Japan, it is quite rare to be vice president as a female professor. It is very rare, so not easy. But thanks to my experience in IEEE, I am now leading various projects at my university. So IEEE experience helped me to be a leader. So helped me by the leader, and therefore I really recommend the STEM professionals to join IEEE. So WIE motivate you, and you can find definitely help your career development, and you can find a network, friends, mentors, and role models, and you can be global and be a leader, global leader. So in addition, I think you can find the joy of being a volunteer and contribute to society. So this is my recommendation for being IEEE members. Thank you.
Thank you, Takako. And then we'll move to Ramalata for how WIE played a role in your life and career.
Okay. It has been around 15 years I have taken over as the Women in Engineering Chair of Madras section, and it has really helped me when I wanted to chair the departments, the strategic planning, how to do it, and how the networking has to be done, how to involve volunteers as well as the other people. It has really helped me through the mentorship of the then Women in Engineering Committee Chair, Karen Panetta, the program manager, the then IEEE presidents, Lou Terman, John Wigg. They have all taught me, and I learned a lot from Cecilia Jankowski, Executive Director. When I chaired the WIE committee, she helped me how to conduct international meetings and dealing with the international laws. So like that, I have learned a lot. And now I'm happy to say that I have been the founder chair for an international innovation challenge called SS12, which is now having its presence in more than 20 countries. And every year we are conducting the finals in one country. This year it is going to be in Bangkok, Thailand. I'm very, very happy to say that it will see at least some 900 people conglomerating in one international university called Stanford, where people from 20 countries will be coming in, the students, young professionals, and school children especially. They will be coming and presenting their findings. And this experience for the past 5 years, this is the 5th edition, this experience has been a learning for me, and this courage has not come before I joined the Women in Engineering. So Women in Engineering has to take the full credit for bringing me that kind of courage.
Thank you, Ramalata. And then Tanita.
Yeah, I think both Takako and Ramalata, right? Overcoming things that you didn't think you could do, your fear, and giving you that courage to take a step that's maybe outside of your comfort zone. All of those are enabled by being part of this community because you have a supportive network, you have people that are working collaboratively together to achieve the common goal. Certainly for me, I think one of the key things is also helping me identify maybe what some of my strengths are. Like for a long time, I would say, oh, I'm not particularly good at this, that's not my strength yet. Through some of the activities and engagement, I remember distinctly one IEEE meeting, somebody said, oh, you're very strategic. I said, oh no, I'm not a strategic person. That's not.
Okay, we're just gonna wait for Anita to come back in and join us. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and go to some questions. There's a question on the chat that we'll handle here. So the question is, how do you feel when you see a keynote panel of an IEEE top conference with only men on the panel and only men keynotes? So Ramalata, would you like to give that some thought?
Yes, I have been in that situation. In 2012, I was invited as a keynote speaker in a conference in one of the cities in India, and all the men on the stage, apart from me, was men. And one of the person, he was the person, the Agni person, Dr. Mailsami Annadurai from ISRO. He said, why we should have a women in engineering? We should start a men in engineering, I believe, because right now I feel that women are equal in entering into the engineering colleges. So there is no need for any women in engineering. And when my turn came, I came to the podium and said, sir, what you said is true. Right now, the entry into the engineering has increased. Right now, we have 50% of women entering into engineering. But whatever you are looking at are in front of you. All the children who are sitting in front of you, you are looking at and finding that 50% are women. Just look at the back and see how many are on the stage. When I'm standing on the podium, it is 0. Everybody is a man. And he immediately said, yes, I take it back. I said, women in engineering, we started only for the reason that the women who are entering should also reach the top. So I think men are okay with entering of women into the engineering, but when they try to come up with a career, unconscious bias is there, and at the same time women also has no confidence in some of the areas, and because of that still we have not reached the 50% on the top. I believe we can do that. We can change it with all our work.
Thank you, Ramalata. And Takako, to you, how does that make you feel if you're at a conference
Yeah, of course, I have a lot of situation like that. Of course, I am not happy to see the most keynote are male, and I really wish at least one female researcher should be a keynote or panelist. However, it is a kind of the reality sometimes. So still, there, as Lamaras mentioned, the decision-making position are sometimes dominated by male still. So of course, we have the situation is improving. However, we still see the glass ceiling sometimes, and also in our mindset, we have still hesitation to be a leader, top position. So therefore, I really hope that the female researchers develop our career and to be the top researcher, and to a lot of we female researcher can be the panelist and keynote at the top conference. So I think we can, as Lamaras mentioned, we can change. But of course, therefore, we have to encourage. But still, there's this kind of the reality, and we have. I'm not so happy to see such a reality. Yeah.
Thank you, Takako. Yes, and that's why the activities at Women in Engineering are so important to help build the confidence and work on leadership skills, to help with also professional development for members and for women, to give them that courage to seek out those opportunities, and with the mentorship. So we thank you all. And we'll go to one other question. So the question is, what advice can you give to encourage a young woman looking to explore a career in STEM? And we'll start with
Lamarata? Me?
Takako.
Oh, sorry. I cannot catch you. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. I really want to say that there are three challenge. Yeah. And don't hesitate to be open the door to the new world. Yeah. Being a leader, we sometimes feel here. And of course, so we sometimes see there are a lot of difficulties and kind of the trouble, and kind of we have to overcome a lot of difficulties and problems to develop our career, but don't hesitate, and yeah, and the challenge. I really I really want to say that there are such a difficult experience. Difficult experience makes us smarter and stronger. So therefore, the challenge is very beneficial for us, valuable for us. So it makes us very smarter and stronger. So after challenge, we can be more smarter and stronger. So therefore, don't hesitate to challenge, and don't hesitate to be leader, and don't hesitate to open the door to the new world. This is my advice, yeah, for them.
Thank you, Takako. And then we'll go to Ramalata. What is the best advice that you can give to encourage a young woman who's looking to explore a career in STEM?
Okay. Nowadays, I find that all the young women, though they show that they have confidence, really they lack confidence. And please do not restrict yourselves to the boundaries that you and the society force you into. That is my first advice. There is a whole world out there to explore. And of course, sacrifices are an inherent part of our life. I believe that the selfishness of being an introvert, being afraid of people and things, and of not accepting our mistakes, and all these things are to be sacrificed first. Then we will actually learn that the world is not a jungle, but a great picnic. So as Takako said, we need to create situations for ourselves, create an environment for ourselves where we will be challenged. And though we get disappointed at times, it doesn't matter. Just the learning that you gain and the training of your mind will be an investment for you. I believe that with that, the women can actually enter into the world with great confidence and also win the world.
Thank you, Ramalata. And then I'll just want to say, to close things out, I applaud our speakers for their dedication and their contributions and their involvement as volunteers in IEEE Women in Engineering. We're going to close out the session. Our 6th annual WIE ILC is quickly approaching. So I want to remind you all of that, and we hope you'll join us in Austin on May 23rd and 24th at the JW Marriott Hotel. More information can be found on our website at IEEE-WIE-ILC.org. And tune in next week for our final virtual track session. It's on May 14th. And it's going to be with Lavisha Parker from Etsy for her session, Tech Leading Through the Unknown, Resiliency and Keeping the House Standing, where she will discuss 3 fail-safe ways she has developed to have measures and processes in place to keep the house standing, even when extenuating circumstances give you every reason to have things slip through the cracks. So we thank you all and everyone for joining us.